Welcome to Burnt Bridge. Today we have a great friend on the pod. We have J-Kline. How are you doing?
I'm amazing, and I'm so grateful and glad to be here.
We are so happy to have you. J-Kline and I went to the same rehab, actually. Shout out to that place.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. We won't name drop, but
Yeah.
you can deduce, I'm sure.
You might see us on a Wednesday.
Or, really any given day, if some bad things happen in my life, I'll be there. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
I was just telling you that I've seen a lot of your stuff. J-Kline, you can find him anywhere on the internet. He is making music. I love your inspirational speaking stuff. It's like you're just an absolute natural at that, and just spreading the good word, and I love that. But I haven't heard your story all the way through, and so I was really excited to have you on because the snippets I have heard have been just absolutely incredible. And so I would love it if you shared with us as much or as little of your story as you want.
Yeah. How much time we got? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, truly.
You start a timer? No. Yeah, absolutely. Like I never knew this way of life could be possible. And like I've had examples throughout my life from like my own family, from people in the rooms that I came up with in my infancy of recovery. And so like I've always seen the possibilities, but in my own life, I never thought that'd be possible.
Yeah.
In a large part because I really never wanted it to be possible. Because I get pretty out there, and when I'm in that world, and for so long I've spent so much time just in so much hurt and emotion and lostness and just mixed and not having any direction or sense of value or purpose. And so I seeked and looked for anything to kind of fill that void, even if it came at a cost.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, we'll get into my story. I am from a place called Battle Creek, Michigan.
Battle Creek,
Michigan. Some of y'all might know where that is. Most of you probably don't. But if you go in your pantry and if you like cereal or you like Rice Krispie treats, Pop-Tarts, you go look on the box or in the packaging, you flip up the little flap, or you look on the box on the back. And if you look in the little label, it'll say my hometown, Battle Creek, Michigan.
Rice Krispies?
Yeah, Rice Krispies, Fruity Pebbles, Frosted Flakes. My town is known for cereal.
Wow.
It's called the Cereal City.
God.
We have an event every summer, and it's called the world's longest breakfast table. And all it is just like a bunch of picnic tables stacked in a line in a street downtown, and people are just eating cereal. We've already had this cereal many times, but we're gonna have a special day to eat the same cereal.
When is it? Because I want to go.
Oh Jesus, I haven't lived back home in a long time. But it's sometime in mid-June, I want to say.
All right, next year I'll see you at Battle Creek.
Yeah, she's coming. The Burnt Bridge is coming to Cereal City, USA.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's my town. That's what we're known for. If anyone knows about the Midwest in general, or in large part, most of the towns or cities are, the economy is based around one particular industry. Gary, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, steel towns, Cleveland, Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, steel towns, Flint, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, automotive, my hometown, cereal. So
Hell yeah.
But with that, when your economy and your your whole town's operating system is based off one industry, and that industry goes away or downsizes, that has a pretty profound impact on the livelihood and just the everyday life of its citizens there. And so much like every other city and town, cereal went a little bit, it's still there, but a large part of its operations went, to other countries. And so with that, when the income dries up, poverty, crime, drugs sets in. And so just like the rest of the Midwest, my town fall victim to that as well. It's not a very big town. It's 60, 70,000 people, but some people call it Little Detroit. But, so it's kind of like that vibe, but on a smaller scale. Used to be a great place, can be still a great place, but it's not like,
Yeah.
it's not a place like you really want to be. I love it. I love you, hometown, but yeah, I'm not going back anytime soon. Well, we're going to go for Steel City.
Yeah, we will be there for
we'll
that.
be there for that. But growing up, I'm actually a literal product of addiction and recovery in like every sense of the word. My mom was a recovering alcoholic. She got sober in 1989.
Wow.
My mom's got like an incredible, just crazy story. Like I wish she was a little bit more outgoing because like the world needs to hear her story. I'm trying to get her to write a book. Mom, you're going to write that book.
Write the book.
Cause like, oh my goodness. I have such a like true admiration and respect for like women. Because unfortunately y'all just have it a little bit different.
Yeah. I know that's right.
Y'all just have it a little bit different, especially women in recovery. Well, women in just any way of life. And it's unfortunate, but I have a deep respect and admiration for that. And it's because of my mom.
Yeah.
She's been on her own since she was 13. She came from like a broken home of generational just abuse and alcoholism. That was in the 60s. So it's like, it's more low key and under wraps because it's just not like that back then. And so she had a kid when she was 16, got married when she was 18, and that just was a cycle of, like I said, abuse, alcoholism, and she found sobriety though in 1989.
Wow.
And then she had me in 1991. She met my father some time prior before that. My dad was also an addict. He was addicted to heroin and crack cocaine. So I'm pretty sure he was sober when they first met, but I'm sure that was short-lived because he wasn't even there when I was born, nor was he even on my birth certificate.
Wow.
And so I had an older brother, as I said. My mom had her first child when she was 16, so I had an older brother who was like 13 years older. So with no dad there, he kind of played like a role of not like a father figure, but he was a male role model.
Yeah.
And I looked up to him greatly. And so my mom was a CNA, certified nurse's assistant, and so she was also going to nursing school while she had two kids. She'd work a CNA job, go to school, and then at night she would go work in a car parts factory, third shift.
Damn.
And do that all over again. So you want to talk about admiration and respect for especially the single mom. And I know there's single dads out there and y'all do your thing too. But again, just the struggle and plight of a woman and a single mom is just, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's so wild.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
She needs to write the book.
Write the book. And she's told me some stories, but I'm sure there's some stuff she's never told me. So, for obvious reasons, but yeah, I'm gonna get her to do it,
For sure.
And so with that, I'm, 5 years old, 6 years old, and I'm going to meetings with my mom. And like every time I like go to a meeting hall, especially like an older one, even like here in Austin, like that smell of like that old AA smell. If y'all know, it's like when cigarettes was still allowed to be smoked, and then there's coffee stains on the wall, and just like old pages of big books. Like it has a real particular smell.
It really does now that you mention it.
Yeah. If you all my meeting goers, go to an old meeting hall.
Take a good whiff.
Take a good whiff. And it's like a nostalgic burst every time like I walk into a meeting hall like that. And I remember when as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, going there with my mom, just not really like having an idea of why we're going there. I just know, hey, that's where my mom goes. To me, it was like a hangout spot. I go there. There's a bunch of old timers there. They're playing cards, smoking cigarettes. Like I said, this was the 90s, so it was allowed. And I'm just in there throwing back A&W root beers. Just I'm having fun. Like it's a good time. Little did I know that would be kind of foreshadowing what would be to come. And so I had a pretty good childhood. Now again, because of how my mom was raised and how she came up and her struggle, and having to go without and make sacrifices. And then also not having a father in the picture. My mom did everything she could to kind of give me a life that she never had. And I don't fault my mom for this at all. But in a lot of ways, kind of looking back, she really, with that kind of comes overcompensation. And so like, my mom's working 2 jobs plus school to provide a life for me. And like Christmas time, she's maxing out the credit card so we can have Christmas, because like my mom's like, my kids are going to have Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, just such extravagant Christmases. And I'm like, man, you know, birthdays, like she's maxing out the credit card. And so, like I said, I don't blame her, but like kind of looking back also in retrospect, like I can kind of see that's maybe where it started. Like my attraction to like external things, of like how this brings like joy and happiness. And I'm equating, you know, possessions with value system.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming my mom. She did the best she could. And so I'm not faulting her, but I also have to recognize like where patterns happen and how I took it. But it was a great childhood. And, you know, being with an older brother, he kind of like, that also had me gravitate towards older people stuff. So I've always felt like I've been in like an older soul, because I've always been attracted to older things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he was into skateboarding. So they're at the skate park and I'm 7 years old with 15-year-olds, and, you know, they're doing what they're doing. And I'm just here. I'm like, man, I feel really cool right now. I'm with the older guys. And then like 98 came, 97, my mom met my stepdad, who obviously they married. And you can guess where they met. AA. And as I said, I'm a literal product of addiction and recovery in every area of my life. And so, you know, stepdad came in the picture. It was cool at first. But I was also at the point where it was like, I was so like attached to my mom's love, and like, I already had my dad who was absent. I didn't really need a father. My mom had done such a great job of playing both roles. So I was like, I'm really kind of good on this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be here, but like, I'm with my mom. She's with me. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all are good. But, and so that dynamic was cool in the beginning, but like, especially towards like my teenage years, it really kind of became a rocky relationship between him and I. But I grew up just like never swearing off like alcohol and drugs. Like I never thought that was going to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
And it also wasn't around me. But I also, like many addicts, and I'm sure like this will resonate with a lot of people, ever since I was young, since first grade, you know, I always had this feeling of like out of place, not a sense of belonging, not a sense of being accepted, feeling misunderstood, just like something is different inside of here. And I'm just like, and I could never really find my way.
Yeah. It's so crazy how common that is among us, like addicts and alcoholics. I remember the first times being in the room and like hearing someone really like explain that in detail and being like, oh my God, that was my experience. And like you said, it's just a constant searching for what thing can make me feel like I belong. Yeah. And that's what gets us into trouble.
Yeah. And so I guess if we're looking back at it, I guess my first drug of choice was acceptance. Was acceptance. And I did anything or whatever I could to get that. And so first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, my mom was a regular in the principal's office because I'm probably doing something to get in trouble because I wanted some type of reaction. Yeah. And again, I'll take that at any cost. So if I'm going to get in trouble, but I got like 5 laughs, that's a win. Yeah, that's a win. Sure. So, and plus, then when you get kicked out, it's like, hey, I'm going to go home and watch Divorce Court or something. You know, yeah. I'm going to watch The Price is Right. Maury. So, yeah, for real. So it wasn't really a punishment. And that trend kind of continued. And then like, I don't know, I started to fall in love with like playing basketball. And that became like really my first love. And then falling in love with like hip hop music, again, older brother. So I'm riding around with him. He was a hip hop fan. So I'm like listening to Wu-Tang Clan and Eminem. And so that kind of like where my love for that started. And I had my dream set that I wanted to be a professional basketball player. And so that's what I would have my sights towards. And that's what I was working on. And I enter in high school. And this is like, you know, the area of like really like out of place and like definitely yearning for acceptance came into play. In 9th grade, I got in trouble because for some reason I thought that a freshman should do a senior prank. I found a group of seniors who was like, yo, we found our little crash out dummy who will do something crazy. I'm like, yeah, I'll take part in your senior prank. And so I decided to egg all the classrooms and just dumb. Classic. And so they expelled me. And
damn.
yeah, they expelled me. I mean, I kind of did a lot of damage, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard eggs, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, well, threw them at teachers, and yeah,
Okay.
I went a little crazy,
right? Okay.
So, and yeah, I got expelled. So I was like, wow, there goes my basketball dreams, because now I'm trying to figure out what high school I'm going to go to. My mom sends me to like this Christian private school. I was there for like a month, got into a fight there, got expelled from there, had to go back to my old school, begged them to let me come back. They did on some conditions.
Yeah. When you get expelled, does that just mean they're like, you can't come here anymore forever?
Right. Technically, yeah.
Okay.
But like I was able to get back into the school. I got the public school I'd gotten expelled from.
The egg one.
The egg one.
Okay,
yes.
great.
And so, yeah, somehow my mom begged them to let me in, and they let me in. And so it was like middle of like 10th grade when they let me back. So again, basketball career, probably not going to happen now.
Yeah.
So I also had that passion of writing, and I began, recording my own music, and I really enjoyed writing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to join the newspaper staff in my high school. And I was the only underclassman. They only accepted like 2 underclassmen, and I was one of those 2. And so like I'm with these older group of people. And again, like in my school, like I never really had that real like acceptance thing. Like everyone had their little cliques and groups. I kind of like migrated and zigzagged from group to group, but it was like, yeah, you're cool, but like you're not in our circle cool.
Right.
So just, all right, your time's up, on to the next group. So like I never really had like that particular lane in high school. And so I joined the newspaper staff. I got a bunch of upperclassmen that I'm with. And for some reason, like I said earlier, I always have this like attraction or I guess appealing to older people.
Mm-hmm.
And so the upperclassmen took a liking to me, and this is where the usage kind of starts. Because now they're like, yo, come chill with us. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I would love to. So we're riding around, and then they invite me like, hey, you want to go to a party? I'm like, sure. I'll hang out. Yeah. And so we're going there. We go to this party. We're chilling, and obviously there's drinking going on. There's smoking going on. I never was going to do this. I don't do that. But then the bottle of vodka gets passed to me, and I'll never forget it. It's Burnett sour apple vodka.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I take 3 shots, and I was like, oh my God, this is the nastiest stuff ever.
Oh, okay.
Don't ever give this to me. Like I did not like the effect produced by alcohol.
Wow.
It was like spinny, and it tasted nasty, and it made me like queasy. I'm like, dude, this is not for me. Y'all keep that. But the other thing, the weed, when I hit that, I was like, you know what? I can do this. This is what actually kind of what I've been missing. I like that. But the alcohol, y'all can keep that. I'm good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Exact opposite for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah.
Keep going.
We all got our little things.
Yeah.
And so that was my thing. And I would smoke, and then they graduated. I moved up, obviously, in the next grade. And so they're in college now. I'm a junior, and now I'm getting invited to college parties. And so this is where like the usage starts to kick up. And like, this is where like alcohol actually comes back into play. 'Cause like,
As she does.
I was like, the vodka was nasty, but it's kind of fun when you incorporate like throwing ping pong balls into a cup. Like that's not too bad. Okay. I can vibe with that, but still like the weed was like the main thing. I'll drink, but the weed was the main thing. And then, cocaine starts coming into play. And I was like, yeah, this is nice. This is it. Like I've been missing this my whole life. Like I felt young, I felt wild, I felt free, I felt accepted, I felt a place of belonging. I'm having fun. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is okay. So, and then, I get into senior year, and then this is where like life starts to really like kind of where the addiction, I think, really starts to set in. I don't do well with a couple things. One of those, the major one is fear. especially like fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty, fear of anything.
Yeah.
If there's a fear before anything, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then also, like I said, I've always been that person that's like super internalized. So like my internal condition's always like,
Yeah.
and my brain is always going, and I'm constantly like in this spiral mode, and I can't turn my thoughts off, and I'm always like examining and like, what is this and this, and if I do this, does this mean this, and if the world's going to come to an end, maybe it won't. Maybe constant battle in my brain. And so this kid moves to our high school, and you know, I've been partying the whole time. All my little friend circle that I'm about to graduate with, they're going to go to universities or the military, or maybe they got good families and they're going to go start a business or be in the family business. You know, I'm probably going to go to community college. No shade to community college, but like, I'm not really having big aspirations here. You know, I'm getting a C, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in high school, and that's party.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. If there wasn't a grade for that, I got an A. But there was this kid that moved to my school, and when I talk about fear, he brought the perfect antidote. And it was almost like this kid was like planted into our high school, because I don't know where he came from. This guy had
21 Jump Street.
Exactly. No, I'm not kidding. Exactly. The guy had a receding hairline and a goatee. I said, I need to see some ID.
He's like, do you kids want some drugs?
And he did.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. Like, he came to school with like a pill bottle of every kind of pill. And I'm telling you, he had like 10 kids in the bathroom just lining up. Pill, pill, pill. Wow. Yeah. Hydrocodones, Loratabs. And I was like, I'll take 4. Took 2. I was like, okay, this feels good. Took 2 more. And I was like, yeah, this is what I've been missing for my whole life. Where have you been? How come you didn't move here sooner? Where were you 2 years ago?
Truly.
And you know, for once in my life, like, yeah, the weed kind of subsided after a while, because like it kind of, if I'm being honest, it kind of made me more paranoid and more in my head. But like these pills, for once in my life, my brain was quiet. My chest was warm. My worries were gone, and the fear was quelled. And I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. And like some people have a reaction to opiates to where it, like, it'll make them sleepy and tired, nodding out. For me, it kind of had an effect like cocaine. I was wired.
Wow.
And I'm like zooming through the halls. I'm like, yeah, life is great. I'm going to English. Are you going to English? No, you got to come. It's fun. Like I was enjoying like being at school.
Yeah, because the fear and the thoughts are gone for the first time, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've been searching for a remedy to this for my whole life, and I finally found it. But I'm just taking it infrequently. You know, not every day, maybe like 3 times a week. And so towards the end of my senior year, me and some like 15 other classmates, we go to Mexico for a senior spring break trip. Time of my life. Okay. I'm not advocating or glamorizing using, but I can't deny it.
It was fun at a time.
I had the greatest time of my life. And the thing about me is like, I take those moments and I don't want those to end. So we're down there for a week. It's obviously, you know, what goes on. It's drinking from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. All inclusive resort.
Ooh, yeah.
And of course, you know, I'm pretty resourceful. So me and another buddy were like, where can we find cocaine? And we're in Mexico. It's somewhere. And of course we found it. Shouts out to the bellboy. Yeah, he brought it.
Yeah.
And so we're doing cocaine and just having the time of our lives. And so we get back, and school's about to be back in session on Monday. It's a Sunday. And I'm sure all my other classmates and the people I went with, they're going to go home, unpack, and get ready for the next day. I get back. I didn't unpack. Matter of fact, I got a cell phone or a phone call from some other buddies that live around the way. And they're like, hey, we're going to go to this big bonfire tonight. It's about to be a rager. Do you want to come through? I said, I just bought a bottle of Jose Cuervo from Customs. I'm on the way. again, I don't want the party to stop.
Yeah.
We got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
These are moments for life,
Mm-hmm.
memories forever.
Yeah.
We're not letting it go. But a normal person, you think, would be like, I just had a week. I got school in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Not this guy. And so I go out there and do what we do. And I'm about to leave. And this guy's like, hey, I got some pills. Now, I'd never seen these pills before. I've never even heard of them. All I know is the hydrocodones that I was getting. And so I equated pill makes me feel good.
Right.
That's a pill. Probably make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I said, sure. So he hands me this little peach pill. He's like, this is Xanax.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but sounds good. Take it. I hop in my car. I'm driving back to my parents' house. And I'm driving. I'm like 20 minutes away. I'm going down the road. I had a system in my car. The system was at full volume. So it was like, vroom, vroom. And I'm like a mile and a half to getting home. And all of a sudden, I just start nodding off. Catch myself one time, catch myself 2 times. And like on the 3rd or 4th nod off, I just fully fell asleep. And then my car goes into a ditch. And I wake up flipping in my car, lands in someone's front yard, lands on all 4 wheels. I'm like looking around, I'm like, oh my God. I try to drive it. It's obviously not going anywhere. And so I go to get out of the car. Somehow there's not a scratch on me, and I'm taking off running down the road. And as I'm running down the road, a sheriff pulls up. Hey, are you the one that crashed that car? I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was no escaping that.
Yeah.
And so I get arrested, and I get booked for my first DUI.
How old were you at this time?
I was 18. Yeah. 2 months from graduating high school, 2009. Mm-hmm. And so, again, fear of uncertainty, the unknown, what's going to happen next. Don't have any direction or purpose or vision. Don't know really what I'm doing after high school. Don't have a career goal or plan or objective. And now I have this legal matter looming over my head. License is gone. My car is smashed. I'm about to have to pay $10,000 in fees and fines. It felt like my world had come to an end. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I graduate, barely. And then right after I graduate, I get put on probation. And I was like, fuck, dude. I'm about to get on probation I'm on probation for a year now. Mm-hmm. You know what that means? I'm going to get drug tested. Mm-hmm. I can't smoke weed anymore. I was pissed. I was like, what am I going to do to find my escape? Because Pill Boy he'd moved on, And so like, damn, I don't know what I'm going to do to escape. And this kid that I would do pills with, my classmate, he comes up to me and he's like, hey, if you give me $20, I'm going to change your life. I said, okay, here's $20. So we drive, and he's like, I'll be right back. So I'm sitting in his car, 20 minutes, 30 minutes goes by. He comes back with like the most eloquently folded perfectly, like a damn robot did it. This little foil. And I open it up and it's powder heroin. Mm. So I dump it out. He didn't tell me it was heroin. Not that I'm faulting him for that, but
right.
And so I snort it and I was like, changed my life. Mm-hmm. So, and that kind of started like my heroin addiction, my heroin career. Mm-hmm. And little did I know it just exactly how much that was going to change my life.
Yeah.
But those pills did one thing, but this heroin took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I've never felt anything like that in my life. You'll hear some people, and I've said it myself, but anyone that's done opiates, specifically heroin, they'll kind of equate that feeling to like a warm, heavy blanket being put over you. Mm-hmm. And I think like that's the most perfect metaphor, analogy for it.
Yeah.
Because I just felt so warm and comfortable and safe, and like I didn't have a worry in the world. Mm-hmm. So all that stuff that I was facing, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that continued on, and I do it sporadically, 3 times a week, nothing too heavy. I mean, I'm doing heroin, but like,
right.
I'm managing at this point. Mm-hmm. And so I go to community college. I do well. I get a little job, and trying to like navigate my next phases of like adulthood now. And then my usage just started increasing and increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And second semester, I'm like, yeah, I can't be here.
Yeah.
Because now I've started to like build some type of dependence on it, and it's like I noticed when I took breaks, I would start like sweating and getting hot and cold, and I'm like feeling icky, and I'm like, oh my god, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm feeling like that, I'm definitely not going to school. And so by this point, the job that I have is $200 a week. Like that's not covering a heroin habit. So of course I started stealing from my mom. Every bit of jewelry she had was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Anything of value in the house was sold. PlayStations, Xboxes pawned. Computer pawned. Like if there was value amount attached to it, it was sold or pawned or traded.
Yeah.
Because this is my life form and this is my life source, and I need it.
Mm-hmm.
I can be without a little PlayStation 2 or 3.
Right.
We'll get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get another one. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll get another one. And so that was the theme of my life. And by this time, I was just snorting it. And that continued on for about 8 months. And then the same friend at the time, he comes back. He says, bro, let me tell you something. He says, dude, we've been doing it all wrong. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, hop in the car. I said, okay. We pull up to a Rite Aid, and I'm like, what are we doing here? He says, I'll be right back. And he comes out, throws it on the little middle armrest, and it's a pack of needles. And he injects me with heroin. And that took me to a dimension that I never thought existed. And I'm not trying to glamorize or romanticize, but I got to give it to you. Like I've never felt anything like that in my life. And I was like, wow, I want this for the rest of I want to feel like this every moment. I don't ever want this to end.
Yeah. Ever.
And I did whatever I could to make sure it didn't. And so, that summer, it was around summer 2010. And I have someone's commented one time on a podcast, they're like, how do you know dates so well? I don't know. I was just somehow I was blessed with a memory, but I also I'm such a visual person that I can almost kind of teleport back to those moments. Mm-hmm. And it was 2010, summertime. And I'm like downstairs in the basement in my room. And my mom comes down. She's like, hey, I think I left something in your car. Where are your keys? I'm like half asleep. And I'm like, they're in my basketball shorts. They're in my basketball shorts. She grabs the keys, exits out my door, and starts walking up the stairs. And immediately it hit me. And I was like, oh my God. I start running up the stairs because I knew what's in that car. Mm-hmm. And right as soon as I could get outside, it was too late. I go outside and my mom just has a handful of syringes in her hand. And she looks at me and says, you want to be like your father? And throws them in my face. And I just sat there and I was just like, my little secrets have been exposed and she knows now. And she says, you just need to stay away right now. And me and your stepdad are going to formulate a plan of what we're going to do with you next. And so they came up with a plan for me to go to treatment. Mm-hmm. They found a treatment center that was like 14 days and 3 days in detox.
14 days.
14 days.
Perfect.
Perfect. So I go there and, I detox and then have 2 weeks of residential. And like the first 10 days, I'm doing great. Mm-hmm. I feel good. I'm in the process groups and I'm giving great insight and feedback. And I'm like one of the younger people in there. So I got all these older people looking at me like, oh my God, Jacob, you're so wise and you have so much potential. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't care. I want to screw my life up more. Mm-hmm. And it was like the last 4 days I was there. I knew that my discharge date was coming up. And what that meant is it was time to get back out there and continue to do what I'm doing.
Right.
Because again, I'm not ready to be done.
Yeah.
And so I'm like withholding going to the store. And I was smoking cigarettes at the time. And so like we'd do store runs, and I quit buying cigarettes for like the next 4 days because I knew I needed money for when I get out to get some more. And so as soon as I was discharged and got my belongings, I powered up my phone. The dealer was the first person I called. And that continued on again. And that's kind of the cycle for like the really beginning stages of my addiction.
So up until the part where your mom found the stuff in the car, did she have any idea?
No.
Okay.
Like she would make like comments like, why are you so eager to clean the house and like do the dishes? You never want to do that. I don't know. I'm just really happy.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
But I bet after that point, she was more looking for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, like I just looking back, like I couldn't imagine like what I put my mom through.
Yeah.
You know, she had already went through this with my biological father, trying to help him get sober.
Yeah.
And then she's also had her own battle. And like I'm bringing drugs in the house, and you know, very disrespectful of me.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to like remedy is just, but I mean, you know all too well that at a certain point, like you just don't consider those things anymore.
Right.
Like the sober version of you would be like, of course I'm not gonna do this to my family, the people that I love the most. But once you're in that like addict mentality, it's like you just completely forget to consider anyone or anything that doesn't have to do with getting fucked up.
Right. And like for me especially, like, well, for anyone, but like I'm in like this state of like perpetual survival mode. Like, because again, this is my life source. I need this to be okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I could do a merry-go-round of 14 and 21 day treatment centers. And then finally my mom's like, you know what, boundaries are now being set in place. You're getting kicked out. And so I'm like homeless in the middle of winter in Michigan at a homeless shelter. And that was my first experience of what it was like to be homeless. And I was like, wow, I really don't belong here. I'm not even supposed to be here. Like,
yeah,
I have a home I can go to, but I also have an addiction that I can't let go of. And so that was crazy trying to navigate through that. Being homeless in the wintertime was not a fun time.
Yeah.
And so after like 30 days of being homeless, I call my mom and I just beg her. I'm like, please let me come back. And she's like, okay, we'll give you another chance. And of course, that worked for a couple weeks, and then I'm back doing what I do. And that kind of continued on until about 2013. My parents were like, you know, we've kind of had enough of Michigan. Economy sucks. My mom's a nurse, so she can kind of get a job anywhere. My older brother had kind of started a family in Cedar Park, Texas. And so like my mom's like, we're going to move to Austin, Texas, be closer to your brother, start a new life there. And I was like, all right, let's go. And she's like, oh no, you're not coming. You're not coming. We're going to change our lives. We're not going to bring someone that doesn't support that. And I was like, damn, okay. What am I going to do? And she's like, I don't know what you're going to do. You'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so my mom sold everything she had so she could move to Austin, cashed out most of her retirement so she could move to Austin. And they're loading up the U-Haul on the last day, and the last item goes in there, and the door shuts. And she goes, if you really want to change your life, you can come with us. And I'm like, yes, Mom, please. Yes, I do. I want to change my life. This is going to be a new opportunity. I'm ready to take advantage of it. And so we get on that U-Haul, and we're on the way to Texas. And we stop in Springfield, Missouri. Now, I don't know if anyone else relates, but like in my addiction, I was an avid intervention and drugs ink watcher.
Oh yeah.
I would get messed up and watch.
Literally same.
Really?
Because I was like, well, I'm not this bad.
I would watch and be like, oh my God, they're just like me. This is my life on TV.
Have you ever seen the one where the guy is living in his sister's backyard? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Intervention?
It's my favorite episode.
Oh, man.
He's living in the backyard. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, I was like, wow, this is like my life. And I'm so sick and twisted and caught my addiction. I'm like, this is acceptable behavior. This is actually normal. Like, what do you mean you don't smoke heroin or smoke crack or drink alcohol excessively? What's wrong with you? And so we stop at this hotel in Springfield, Missouri, and instantly my brain switched and goes, oh my God, I remember watching an episode on Drugs, Inc. that Springfield, Missouri is the meth capital of the United States. I was like, there's got to be drugs somewhere in this hotel. And I'm very good at like spotting someone who's in that world or in that life. It's like I have like a addict radar. And of course, it went off right away as I saw the gentleman posted up by the little hotel phone that they have on the wall next to the vending machine. And I was like, yep, that's my guy. I go up to him like, hey, can you get any heroin? He's like, no, I can't get that, but I can get you something else. I was like, sure, I'll take it. I've never really done meth, but I'll do it. He's like, all right, well, come hop in this car and we'll go. I was like, Mom, stepdad, I'm going to go visit my friend from high school who happens to go to school down here at the university in Springfield, Missouri. Not true. All right, well, we're going to go out to eat. Have fun. Be safe. And so I hop in this random guy's car and I'm driving around Springfield, Missouri for the next 2 or 3 hours, going to different drug dealers' houses to try to find drugs. And I get it, go back to the hotel and everyone's asleep. I'm like, hey, I pulled that one off. No one knew.
Yeah.
They were good. And then we hop back on the road. And I'm like in my mom's car and I'm like tweaking on meth. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the most uncomfortable feeling ever. like, does she know? Like,
can't imagine a worse place to
no,
be high
I'm
on
like,
meth.
oh my God, I was so dehydrated. I couldn't even swallow. And I'm just like, I just put on my phone. I'm like looking at audio. I'm like, you know, I had like audio versions of songs on YouTube. I'm just like it's a damn music video. I'm like, oh my God, that was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so we're entering in like Texas area or Texas, the tip of Texas. And so I'm very resourceful when it comes to like my drugs. And at this time, this is like 2013. I used Google and I said, Google, where do you find heroin in Austin?
Classic
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah. You want to know something, use Google.
And the cops are just like, here's the address.
Yeah. And so unbeknownst to me, but what I did find out that they had a whole message board back when forums and message boards were kind of popular. If anyone's watching, this has already been banned. They've already took it off the webs. It's not on there anymore.
Do not try this.
Please don't. And so I found a message board that was dedicated to where you can find it.
Wow.
And I found this guy and I emailed him and I said, hey, I'm about 6 minutes out, or 6 hours out from Austin. I need some heroin. Do you got it? I got money. He said, yeah, just email me when you touch down. And so we pull in a Round Rock. Parents are in IKEA getting new furniture for their new apartment to start their new life. And I said, I'm going to stay in the car. And these guys pulled up with black tar heroin, a needle, clean needle, of course, and a spoon.
In IKEA?
In IKEA.
Wow.
And so that whole new life, new opportunity, new city, I'm going to take advantage of it, was just like every other promise or idea I thought of getting clean was going to happen, was immediately faded away.
Yep.
And that new opportunity was gone.
Wherever you go, there you are.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I do that, and we go back to my mom's apartment that she had just got. And she knew for sure, because I'm like in the laptop in like the little office nook area, and I'm just like nodding out, and she's like looking at me. She's like, I couldn't imagine what she was feeling like. She was like, oh my God, I know she was like, I should not have brought him here.
Yeah.
I knew I made a mistake. And she just told me, Jacob, you need to go to bed. I was like, I'm not even tired. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's like, no, you need to go to bed. And so, God, my mom's done so much for me. like I said, she sold everything and she cashed out of retirement to make this trip. She's like, you're not living with us. I'm going to do one last favor for you. I will help you get an apartment and I'll pay for the first month. After that, you're going to have to figure it out, get a job, but this is it. But you're already here. You're not living with us.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Give me an apartment. Great.
Amazing.
And she did. And then I found a little job. But I also had my new connection in my new city, in my new state, my new town. And this is my new life, but same life. And that kind of continued on, and almost got evicted like the last month of the lease. I didn't have funds for it. And she was like, well, you can either stay here and get evicted or you can leave and it won't be on your record. I was like, all right, cool. I'll pack up and leave. And I ended up meeting another person randomly who was walking through the complex. And I was like, again, the drug radar goes off. I'm like, yeah, he does drugs. I said, hey, do you know where to get any of this? He's like, no, but I got crack. I was like, okay, we can be friends. And he's like, listen, I need a roommate. I said, really? Where do you live at? He goes, I live just 2 streets down. I said, perfect.
Wow.
I need somewhere to live. He said, come on. I said, great. This is going to be perfect. This is meant to be. Look at God, man. And so I move in with this guy, and one of the craziest living experiences I've ever had. And that didn't last very long because a bunch of addicts living under one roof just does not work.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah. And so I left there, and Mom's like, you're not coming here. And so this was my first experience of being homeless in Austin. And I didn't really know where to go. So I went to the Arch on 7th Street. And I went there, and I was there for like 30 days. And I was just like, this is crazy. You know, I'd been homeless in Michigan, but like, that's a small town. Being homeless in Austin was a whole nother experience. I saw things that I never thought I was going to see. Never thought I was going to see. And, you know, the thing about the Arch is, in a lot of those homeless shelters, is you got to be there at a certain time. Generally, it's like 5 p.m. to get in line. And then there's like a lottery system where they select people.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you had to be there in line early in order to hit that lottery. And so once you get in there, you're in there. Well, what I found out is that if I didn't go there with drugs, that was going to get in the way of my using. So I was like, you know, the Arch just isn't going to work. I'm going to have to just sleep on the street. And so like I'm going around Austin like in my new homeless world, and it's the middle of summer.
You were in Michigan, homeless in the winter.
Yep.
And Texas, homeless in the summer.
Yeah.
Oof.
So 2 extremes.
Yeah.
And I'm like in this new world. It's like 2015, summer 2015. And I'm like asking all the homeless people, I'm like, hey, do you know where there's a place to sleep at? If you're looking for a spot to sleep, it's like the most kept secret. At least it was at that time. No one's telling you where their spot's at because they want that spot. So I'm like trying to figure out, like, find places of where to sleep at. And I found this church that's on like 9th Street in Brazos, right across the street from the Fox 7 news headquarters. And it was like these little stairs that go up, and then it kind of platformed. And I was like, cool, this is out the way. No one else has found this. I found my spot. And I was there for like 5 months.
5 months?
Yeah. From April till about August.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Was it like covered?
Not really.
Okay.
But luckily, like, it didn't really rain at that
Yeah.
year.
Hard to imagine it's raining so fucking much.
You're right.
Wow.
So,
5 months.
So.
Damn.
Yeah. And this is like open up. Now I'm like robbing department stores. I'm robbing people. Just crazy shit. Just to get money. And that's kind of how I supported my habit. And finally, it just became unbearable. I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. And I got a call from an employer that I worked at. I had kind of been a chef in Austin for, I would keep jobs for like 2 months and then get fired. Keep jobs 3 weeks, get fired. Maybe keep a job for 5 months, get fired. Well, this was one of the places I had kept, longer than 3-month period. And, I was good at what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a decent chef. And so my old boss had called me. He's like, hey, we really need guys. I don't know what you're doing, but if you want to come back and work for us, you can. I'm like standing in front of the 7-Eleven on Congress downtown. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great. And I would love to come back and work for you. Absolutely.
Let me just check my schedule super fast.
Yeah. I think I got time. And so I'm like, fuck, I actually don't have anything. I have a backpack with 2 pairs of clothes in my backpack. And that's all I have. And I also have nowhere to live. And this job is in Cedar Park. So, I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, you won't believe this. The company wants me back. This is a great opportunity. You know what? You should just let me come back and live with you. And like, this is great. I'm going to have a job. I'm going to get my life back on track. I also cannot stand being homeless in Austin. I'm fucking hot. I'm sweating. I can't live like this anymore. She's like, Jacob, we'll give you one last chance. I said, okay, I promise I'm not going to blow it. And so I move back and I settle in and I start working at the job. And first week's great. Second week's great. And then that third week is where things kind of change because, I don't know, something flipped in my brain when that direct deposit hit. Mm-hmm. I was like, yes, I got steady income now. Mm-hmm. Let me take this whole check, call my guy, and buy as much as I can. And I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be okay. I got a place to live, got a job, and I got drugs. And that's all I needed. And that worked for a minute until like eventually my body just kind of maxes out to where Mr. Energetic Jacob is now like lethargic and sleepy. And it's to the point where like I'm like on the line in the kitchen. It's a 6 p.m. dinner rush. And my coworkers knew when it was 6 p.m. on a Friday night and the restaurant was about to get busy, I'm going to the bathroom real quick because I need to freshen up. Yeah. I need to freshen up and do my thing. And then I'd come back and it got to the point where we're like 20, 25 orders deep. And like, I'm like nodding out, about to fall into the grill. My manager had to come run and grab me. He's like, dude, you got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. He's like, you need to clean your life up. I was like, what? I'm talking about, I'm fine, dude. I was just cooking.
I was just resting my eyes.
Yeah, I'm busy, dude. It's sweat. It's hot in here. And so, but they didn't fire me. But eventually they did because that was a repeated thing. And of course, after a while, I just get reckless. Mm-hmm. And mom and stepdad found out again. They're like, yeah, you got to go. And then I had my experience with a toxic relationship. Mm-hmm. I had never been in a toxic relationship. And like my drug of choice obviously is heroin. And for me, there's certain drugs that, kind of, are more like romantic sexual drugs, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. Heroin's not that drug. Yeah. I could care less about a female, to be honest. All I need is me and that. Yeah. Honestly, I can't even do anything on that drug anyway. So sorry, I'm out of service. Like there's nothing going on. But I did find a woman who I'd met at that restaurant. And for some reason, she thought 165-pound strung out Jacob was an attractive man with a story to tell. And
a story to tell.
Well, she was right. Mm-hmm. I sure do. And so we like met up one night and I started like telling her my story a little bit, not the full detail. And she's like, wow, you don't do it anymore, do you? I said, no.
Of course not.
No, I'm sober. And I had it in my pocket. Mm-hmm. And so we're at this bar drinking and I'm like, yeah. Little did I know she also had an alcohol problem.
Hell yeah.
And after 7 days of going on dates, she says, hey, you should just move in with me.
I love addicts.
I said, that sounds great. Because honestly,
as a matter of fact, let me just go break my lease really quick. I'll do it.
Because, it was time for me to go. Mm-hmm. And I'd found the perfect opportunity. I could have a female. Not only that, a female that wanted me. I didn't even want me. So why would you want me?
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, my drug of choice, my number one drug of choice is acceptance and just wanting to be loved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now I get to have best of both worlds.
And like, if someone loves you and wants you at your absolute worst,
Oh my God, it's
you're
a
like,
fairy tale.
And we have this delusion of like, soon I'm gonna get better.
Yeah.
And like, you already saw me like this, and you're down. So period. Best case scenario.
Yeah. This is a Lifetime romantic movie. Yeah. They make movies about this. Yeah. It's on Tubi.
They do. It's on Tubi. It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually, like I said, I get reckless and I'm at another job and I'm like at work, and then I get this notification on Facebook, and this woman, she had posted a picture of like a spoon with residue on it and tagged me in it. And so like now all of social media knows that, hey.
The one you were living with?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And she's like, yeah, you're a junkie. Fuck you. Why are you bringing this in my house? I
said, on Facebook?
Yeah, everything. I'm like, oh my God. So the whole world now knows that J-Kline is a heroin addict, junkie, loser. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong, unfortunately. And I go back and I'm like, I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. She let me stay. And again, that was the most toxic relationship I'd ever been in. And it wasn't just her. It was me too, of course. You know, I had to make a living amends for that. And the person you see here is not that person anymore. A lot of physical abuse. Not, I can't minimize it, but like there was physical abuse for sure on both ends.
Yeah.
But mainly a lot of verbal abuse. That was the main thing. And I almost think that's almost worse sometimes.
Yeah. It's all rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she really knew how to like morbidly like hit me in my brain like never before. And she would just like record me nodding out on the couch, you know, just calling me insults and names. You're a junkie. You're a piece of shit. No one's ever going to want you. And I'm just like, yeah. And it was just the craziest thing I'd ever experienced in my life. And like, I understand like how people in toxic relationships or abusive relationships, why they can't escape.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't escape and neither could I.
Yeah.
And I've actually never shared this story this in depth. So it's not something I'm ever proud of.
Yeah.
Because it's so against who I am today, because I would never, ever do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's two very, very sick people, and it's not a good, equation.
I have also been in a similar situation, and it's interesting because I think like addicts are some of the best people I've ever met when we're sober.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times you meet these people sober and then one thing leads to another, but it's like, yeah, everything, all of your values, systems, everything is just out the window when addiction's at play, and it just changes people into the opposite of what they are in every way, and it can get really fucking crazy really quick.
Yeah.
And we love to move so fast.
Yeah. And the thing is like, I think a lot of the thing about those type of relationships is like we always look at like the 2 or 3 good days. The 2 or 3 good days, like, oh my God, things were fine. We got along. We had intimacy. We were romantic. We were nice to each other. She said nice things. I said nice things to her. It was peace, love, and harmony. It was a good day.
Yeah.
We're at Cece's Pizza or Dave and Buster's playing games, like a normal couple should. And then it's like 28 days of chaos and misery. But it's like, damn. We had a really good 2 days. If we could just somehow find how to multiply those 2 days, we would just be fine.
Yep.
And that's never coming. It's never coming.
It's the same thing as chasing the dragon of addiction.
Yeah.
It's like, truly, I'm just searching for that first high. It's just, I just am such a believer that, especially like in addiction and early sobriety relationships, it just mirrors addiction exactly, where it's like, this thing made me feel better. And now it makes me feel worse, but I'm still going to keep doing it because one time it made me feel better.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, just like addiction does.
Yeah.
It's wild, but yeah.
You know, and yeah, in a lot of ways, like the drug of choice or the drug itself is a toxic relationship, you know? Yeah. And so 2018, I was able to find, we were kind of forcefully split. You know, there was a period where it's like, okay, this is my chance and this is your chance. You go your way, I'm going to go my way. And that's what we did. With that, I got on the methadone program in 2018, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And the methadone program worked for me for about 6 months. I got a job. I got a good job. My mom let me come back to the house one last time. And I kind of took advantage, you know, I actually kind of took advantage of it this time. And started building my life back up. And I started getting back into my music. Because I really didn't do too much music in my active addiction. You know, I just don't have time. You know?
Yeah.
Don't got time, don't have money. So there's like, you know, music costs money.
And I mean, for me, I just lost all interest in anything creative.
Yeah, me too.
Just doesn't matter.
You know, I you're a creative, so like I was under this delusion of like, man, I'm gonna be like Lil Wayne, or I'm gonna be like Kurt Cobain or Jimi Hendrix, and I'm gonna just get so zonked out of my mind, and I'm just gonna write the most beautiful, eloquent writings and record it, and just it's gonna be perfect because I'm just out of this world. I don't know what they did, but
How did they do it?
I don't know, because it didn't work for me. Because I'm the type that.
I mean, same. I always thought, like, you know, Amy Winehouse, like Bukowski, like I'm gonna write, and I would always like get down, like early in my addiction, I would sit down and like have something I was gonna paint, and then I'd start painting, and then I'd start drinking, and then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'm just gonna drink now. Like I don't care anymore. Yeah. I just lost it.
Yeah, I couldn't do both worlds.
Yeah, no way.
And so, but I started, you know, getting my music career back up and or music going, and so job, money, acquiring things again, and I'm getting some structure, but I'm not working a program.
Right.
I'm just abstinent from heroin. So then I start smoking weed again. That's cool. And I start performing at venues and doing shows. And I found out that I got a lot of anxiety and nerves. So I was like, you know what? Before I go on stage, I need to hit 2 shots of tequila off rip so I can calm my nerves. I can't perform unless I have a couple shots of tequila.
Same.
You know. And then afterwards, you know, I need another couple shots, and then we're all gonna smoke in a hut, in a circle, and that was cool. And that kind of worked for a minute. And then alcohol never really was my thing, but on methadone, my experience, I'm not against MAT, not for it or against it, but like in my experience, alcohol kind of became this new love. Because it kind of produced that warmness that I was looking for. And also what I found out is alcohol made me really, really depressed. Yeah. I guess it is a depressant.
It
so
is.
Makes sense. But I thought it made you feel good and have party and have fun. And while it can do that too, I found myself on my lunch breaks like sprinting to the 7-Eleven so I can chug Steel Reserve malt liquors. I'm like, this is natural. Yeah. But I just want it in me so fast so I can feel that effect. And so I started drinking like every day, and it just made me so depressed. But you know, I still had some things good going for me, so I was hanging on to those. I started getting booked for bigger shows, with opening up for Texas, you know, popular Texas hip hop artists. And so like I started feeling like I had some momentum and like I was doing something. And then I had linked with like a small record label in Austin, and they got me a distribution deal with Sony Music through them. And I started working on my debut album. I'm like I said, I'm doing shows. I got a name, somewhat of a name. You know, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. The guy who was just homeless and going through heroin addiction, I got some motion now. Some. And so I kind of rode that wave, and then I started partying a little bit more, XO pills, and doing a little meth here and there. Because like I said, I'm not working a program.
Yeah.
I'm still wanting to escape and feel these effects. And then I'm almost done with my debut album. It's end of 2019. I got booked for like the biggest show I've ever done. I opened up for Riff Raff for a sold out crowd in downtown Austin. And I'm the last act that goes on before Riff Raff. So like I have an actual packed venue. I'm like, yes, I am on top of the world right now. Like I feel like I can make it. And did great at the show. And then that was December 2019. And then 2020 happened. And like I said, I don't do well with fear.
Yeah.
I don't do well with fear. And I had a good job. I was a temporary employee at the time through a temp agency, and I was about to get hired on. I had like 3 more weeks. And then COVID happened in 2020. And then everything came to a halt. And I watched my whole life and all this progress that I was making. While there was a lot of shortcomings, I focused on the progress, and I watched all that progress get halted seemingly overnight. The shows came to an end. I got let go from my job. I was a temp employee, almost converted. And the temp agency was like, yeah, you're a temp employee, so you don't qualify for unemployment. I was like, what the fuck? So now I have no income, no money. And I'm just sitting at home watching CNN with just mega cities empty.
Yeah.
Death tolls and hospitalization tickers across the board. Like, wow, 10,000 deaths. An hour later, 20,000 deaths. Oh my God. 2 days later, 100,000 deaths. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The world's coming to an end. That's what I thought.
Same.
The world's coming to, it was a very scary time. Never have we saw anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what's the point? I ditched the methadone and said, it's back to heroin, and it's back to using full time. We're not going to do this little here and there shit.
Yeah.
I'm going all out. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And from 2020 to 2022, I took it to any length possible. And 2021 is where I started experimenting, getting into the sober living houses. Because I'd been 2020, I was either bouncing from couch to couch, Motel 6 to Motel 6, occasional female. Not many, but there was like one. I always find that one in addiction. I'm like, yes, you complete me.
Yeah.
Or you just want me. I don't know what it is, but I also need a place to stay. I'm sorry. Totally not that guy. I'm sorry. But yeah, such a piece of shit in addiction.
We all are.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So, and 2021, I'm like, I'm getting tired of just doing this routine. And I'm like, so let me get into sober houses and let me try giving sobriety a chance. And like I said, I'm like a week or two type of guy. I'll last a week, maybe 2. But once something needs me, if I get like a large sum of money, or I get a good job, or I just get that itch, then I'm gonna exploit that and do that.
Yeah.
And so I go from sober house to sober house, get kicked out, hotel. And so from 2021 to 2022, I was in 15 different sober livings in a year period. And it got to a point in April of 2022, my heroin supply had been converted to fentanyl. I'd never really done fentanyl like that, but I was like, if that's what you got, then I'll take it.
Yeah. And
so I started getting that, and I'm doing that every day as much as I could. And I'd get, again, kicked out of sober living because they'll find out. And then it's like early October, mid to end October, I get kicked out of another sober living, and I'm just like, man, I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired of getting kicked out. And then you get an hour to pack, and I'm walking around North Austin like, what do I do next? I'm posted up at taco trucks trying to charge my phone, trying to figure out my next move, and my next move is it's nothing different.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, all right, I'm gonna get clean. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's over with. And I go to this new sober house, and I'm there for about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. And after about, like I said, 2.5 weeks of being there, I'm sober. Kind of going to some meetings finally. And I'm laying in my bed, and it's like 2 in the afternoon. And I'm just laying there staring at the ceiling, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get high one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get high one more time, and then I'll be done.
Yeah, just one more time.
Just one more time. I take a lift, I go and get it. I go in the Valero bathroom, I do it, and I immediately overdose, and I wake up to paramedics reviving me. I was like, whoa, what happened? I had never overdosed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Never. 13 years using, never overdosed. Wow. They didn't take me to the hospital. They just revived me and said, all right, you're good to go. And I went back to the sober house like it was nothing. I'm like, whoa, I don't know what just happened there. That's crazy.
Wow.
But surely something went wrong there. We need to try this again.
Oh, right.
Because, like I said, I'm trying to get high one more time. And
you
then
didn't even get to experience
I didn't even get to experience it.
Yeah.
I want to do it one more time, and then we can be done with this. But I'm not going out like that.
Yeah.
Call the guy up again the next day. I get it. Go back to the sober house, and I overdose in the bathroom at 11 o'clock at night. I had thrown up in my lungs. I had aspiration pneumonia, and I wake up with the same EMT as the time before, as just the day or two previous, reviving me. And I'm taken out on a stretcher, and I'm in the hospital for the next 2 days, hooked up to an IV, trying to get the infection out of my lung. And I'm in the hospital, and like I don't care about my health.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew I had some fentanyl in my wallet. I was just like, please, 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 please be there. And I open up my wallet and I look in the billfold section. I'm like, yes. And I'm so fucking sick that while the nurse is typing up my information, I'm like dipping my finger in the fentanyl bag and snorting it right in the hospital after my second overdose with vomit in my lungs.
Yeah.
And so I get kicked out of that sober living, obviously. And then there was, in North Austin is known for a plethora of sober homes. That's like the mecca of Austin sober homes. And so I found another sober living that conveniently is just around the corner. Mm-hmm. And so I go and get my little backpack and the couple of little items I had that fit in a garbage bag. And I walked just around about 0.7 miles around the corner into another new sober house. This one was kind of like a flop house type. They let me in, no drug test, no problem, cool. Oh, you don't even have a curfew, awesome. This is my type of house. I get settled in, and then the next day I call my guy. I said, hey, I need some more because I just want to do it one more time and then we can be done.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what just happened those 2 times, but this ain't it. This is a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
This is an accident. Yeah, I'm not going out like that. And I go and get it again. 3rd time, overdose again.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shit. And this is all in the course of like 2 weeks?
Total, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Overdose again. I was in public, so no one really knew that was needed to know. Narcaned again. I went back to the sober house like it was nothing. And then I just said, dude, I don't know what's going on, but I have an idea. I think I'm just doing it the wrong way. See, because I had taken a 2-week break, so that must have meant my tolerance had gone so low. Like, you can't just jump back in injecting it. Like, you got to ease your way back into it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to inject it. I'm going to go back and I'm just going to snort it. And surely you can't overdose from snorting fentanyl. So I call my guy up. I go and meet him. I get it. I snort it. And the sober living again. Again, I'm a piece of shit in an addiction. because like how wrong and reckless am I to do that? But that is part of my story, unfortunately. And yes, after snorting fentanyl, you can overdose too. And for the fourth time, I overdosed, and I get kicked out of that house. Now I'm homeless. And I call my guy up again the next day, 2 days later. And I go and say, hey, I need another one. And I go and get it. And I said, you know what? I know how I'm going to cheat the overdose. I'm going to snort just the smallest line possible. And so I go to the McDonald's on Brumberg and Lamar. It's about, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I go in the bathroom. And some of y'all, if y'all follow my music, I actually shot a music video called Last Time. And it's a fully detailed line-by-line analysis of my last overdose. And I even filmed the music video in that same bathroom, depicting this scene. And I go in there and I snort just the smallest line. And I was out. And I wake up again, EMT Narcaning me. I threw up in my lungs again. So that's 5 overdoses in 2 weeks. Wow. Thinking that it's going to be different. Because I just wanted to get high one last time. And I get took to the hospital. I'm there again for a couple days. And it was there where I had a real breakthrough and a real surrendering moment. And I'm laying on the hospital stretcher, and I'm on my phone, and I'm just scrolling through Facebook. Now, obviously we shouldn't compare our lives to people on our news feed. But I think in this situation, it kind of saved my life. And I scroll through all the people I'm friends with, people I'm in the music industry with. They're shooting music videos, they're in the studio, they're doing photo shoots, they're performing. From the outside, it looks like, hey, they're making moves. I don't know what's going on the inside, but from the outs, better than where I'm at. I go and I look at people I went to high school with. You know, they got the husband or the wife, little cute dog, little cute baby. They got the little sign in the shape of a key that says, our new home. Some are starting businesses, or maybe they're traveling abroad. I don't know what's going on in their life, but from the outside, it looks good, and it's better than where I'm at. And then I stop on a picture of my family as I'm scrolling down this feed. It was like the right images just hit me in the right time. And I stop at this picture of my family, and I stop and I just stare at it so intently. And they're having like a family dinner at my mom's house. It's my older brother, his wife, their 2 kids, my youngest brother, my stepdad, my mom. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, oh my God. How do y'all look so different? I couldn't believe it. My mom's hair, her roots are gray now. Stepdad's balding. My little brother, who last time I saw him was like 5'8", is now 6'4". My little nephew was 7 when I saw him. He's now almost 6 foot. My oldest brother has got a receding hairline. I'm like, how did y'all get so old? I could have swore it was still 2014, and you're telling me it's 2022. Where did all the time go?
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me, like how precious time is. Like, and it's like, I'm 32 years old. I don't have anything to show for it in my life. I don't got a car, don't have a savings. No one wants to be around me. I've burnt every bridge. I've ruined and soured every opportunity, damaged every relationship. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And I left that hospital stretcher, and I had just enough money to get a cheap hotel at Austin Motor Inn, one of those little $56 a night places, a place where you go and do drugs. Well, I went there to go withdraw. You asked about, did I go through treatment? I did not this time. I knew that I had to be able to, I had nowhere else to go. And I knew that I had to get into another sober living. But in order to do that, I was going to have to pass a drug test.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to withdraw there. So I had just enough money to get a 5-day stay there, a 5-night stay there. And I laid on that shitty hotel mattress, that thin smoke scented blanket, the walls stained, roaches going across the ceiling. And I'm just laying there with Dateline NBC playing, and I'm just wrapped up in this blanket, and I'm just tossing and turning. Hot, cold. I'm like throwing it off, throwing my shirt, just in aches and pains and just agony. And like the mental part was like the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've withdrawal before, not many times, but this was something different.
Yeah.
Like it felt like my life was over, and it would be okay if it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that I was getting stuff from was actually in the hotel right across the street.
Whoa. Nightmare.
So it was only a 0.7 mile walk, if that. And surely I could have at least got him to give me a free bag.
Mm-hmm.
Surely. And I just kept telling myself as I'm tossing and turning and fighting through this pain, I just said, hold on, Jacob. You can get through this. I want to be something. I don't want to be a junkie anymore. I'm tired of living like that. And I just kept telling myself that as I'm tossing and turning. I'm kicking my legs because the Charlie horses and nerves are just running through me. And I'm just saying, no. I want to be something different. I want to do something. I'm going to be something. I'm going to be something. And I just kept repeating it to myself. And that 5 days was up. I didn't leave that mattress. I didn't leave that bed unless I had to like pee.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anything to drink except for an apple juice and a 1 bag of corn chips that whole 5 days. Because I couldn't get up.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up after 5 days, and I had to go check out. And I called this guy, and I've already been to his sober house 2 other times. Got kicked out, but we kind of maintained a good relationship. And I call him up, and I say, hey, I know I've been to your houses a couple times already, but I need somewhere to go. And he says, well, how long do you have sober? And because I had been to this guy's house, I knew that he had a rule. You got to be at least 14 days sober to go there. I said, I got like 60 days. 60 days? I got like 60 days clean. Because I knew that if I didn't get into that house that I was going to die. And I'm not advocating lying, but I had to.
Yeah.
Because I knew deep down in my heart that if I needed to get there and I was going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there with just a backpack, with just like a change of clothes. And I go there, I set up, and I didn't really set up. I didn't have much to set up. Just bag set on the floor, I made my bed. And I was expecting to get a UA. The house manager didn't UA me right away. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm good. Because the thing about fentanyl is it stays in your system for about 5 to 7 days. Mm-hmm. And so like I'm right at the mark. It's going to be real close.
Yeah.
And if I don't pass this test, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. And it's like 9:00 at night, and he calls me, hey, I need to get that UA before we go to bed. I said, okay, I'm ready. And so I do my thing in the cup, and he looks at it, pulls the little strip back, and it was like an hourglass just dropping. Mm-hmm. Time had just slowed by so fast, or so slow. And he's like turning the cup, and I'm like, bro, is it fucking good or not? Like, what do you need? A magnifying glass? You need a light? He looks at it, and he goes, you're good. Wow. I said, are you kidding? Are you serious? Let me see it. And I look at it, and on the cup, I'm telling you, it couldn't have been a more fainter line. Like if it was just a hair less, it would have been a positive test.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can begin my new life.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did.
Damn.
And I set up and I started to just build my life up. And I started going to meetings. I'd pass by gas stations where I used to post up at and meet my dealer. I'd get thoughts of wanting to use, and I would fight those every time they come on. You know, in the past, I would never fight them. I would just, first thought, yeah, let's get high.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it.
Yeah.
And when those thoughts came, I fought them. Every time that I would walk into a bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
I know it might sound crazy, but like that was the place I used at.
Yep.
And so every time I went to a bathroom, I was triggered. I'm like, ooh, you know, this is a really nice bathroom. I could kind of see myself using here, the alloy steel on the stall, and look at the quartz countertop. Yeah, I could definitely, and the toilet paper rolls, I could put my spoon. I'm telling you, I get sick with it. I get sick with it. And I'm like, and I just, again, that phrase that I was repeating to myself in that bed, no, I want to be something.
Mm-hmm.
I want something different.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that anymore.
Yeah.
And went to meetings, got a sponsor, worked the steps, had a spiritual experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then around like 70 days, I don't know, I just caught fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, that guy that could never see this possible.
Mm-hmm.
It became real.
Yeah.
And the boy who was told in his first couple treatment centers, you know, you got so much potential and you could really be something. And, you know, I just never wanted it to, even if I did believe it, I didn't really care if it came true.
Yeah.
Well, I believed it finally.
Mm-hmm.
I believed it. And I didn't have a car, didn't have a bank account,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have anything. And I think sometimes the best place to build up is from ground zero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. In 70 days, I just caught fire. I'm a pretty outgoing person.
Mm-hmm.
But like my first couple meetings, like for the first like 70 days, I didn't share in one meeting. I felt so out of place. I was like, dude, I don't belong here. My track record is I'm probably going to relapse real soon.
Yeah.
And then that just wasn't a thing for me because I knew deep down in my heart that I was done.
You know what's wild is like, I remember at one of those meetings, I remember seeing you, and I probably, because I got sober April of 2022, so, you know, it'd probably be 8 months after that or something. I remember seeing you, and you were so, like you said, like on fire for it. And I was like, man, like, I remember when I used to feel that way, like, you know, it'll fade. And then watching your journey over time, like, you really have maintained that level of like, no, I'm certain that this is the time for me. And like, it's just been really cool to watch because like, we're all so fucking negative and skeptical about everything. It's like, yeah, you'll get to a point where you fucking hate your life again too. And it's like, no, you've just really stayed so, I mean, just so vocal about it. And it's really been inspiring for me. And I think obviously a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
You know, and, you know, I've had people come up to me plenty of times be like, you're going to lose that fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, nah. You know, coming to death many times, I don't know, it did something to my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like I said, that concept of time.
Yeah.
All we got is today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do my best to make today a great fucking day.
Yeah.
Thank God he messed up. He gave us another day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I look at it. They messed up and gave us another day.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And so I started sharing in meetings and people started like, I didn't do it for that reason. I just was so fired up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sharing my ass off. And like people come, I love what you said. I love what you said. And this one girl came up to me one time and she's like, you know, again, I'm just sharing from the heart. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I'm Pisces as fuck. So everything I say comes from the heart and I mean it. And she's like, you know, I could see you giving TED Talks one day. I said, wow.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I started like really crafting a vision. I don't know if it was her just saying that really kind of like set it off. But it was like it solidified that belief that, yeah, you're doing something right, Jacob. You have a purpose. You have a voice. And you're here for a reason. You didn't overcome all that for nothing. And you better go give it back.
Yeah.
You better go give it back. And that's what I did. And so from there, I started crafting a vision of what it is I wanted my life to be like. Because remember, that 5 days in that hotel, I said I want to be something. And that's exactly what I was going to do. I started setting goals. I want to stay sober, obviously. I want to sponsor guys. I want to rebrand and recreate my music career. I want to manage a sober living. I want to become a life coach. I want to start a foundation, start a podcast. And all it took was some patience. All it took was some patience and a lot of just staying focused and believing in myself. And every one of those things came true. Some of those aren't no longer happening. Like I joined forces with a podcast. I no longer do that podcast anymore, but for other reasons. And that's okay. I rebranded my music career, and it's taken me to places that I never would have thought I would have envisioned. Like, it's not about like I don't care if I get a Grammy. I really don't even care if I never did it for money.
Yeah.
For me, it just became like an extension of me and like another vehicle to carry a message of experience, strength, and hope. And if I have that gift and that voice to use it, then I'm going to use that music for that. And so that became a platform, and it's kind of, especially as of late, resonated. I've gotten booked for like recovery shows. I was on a billboard last summer for a recovery festival. Like, what?
Hell yeah.
Only thing I ever been on was a mugshot, mugshots.com. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm on a billboard, and like I was just sharing with you, I got that same festival. They're doing it again this year, and they brought me back, and now I'm about to perform with Kalichi, who I was listening to in RU on Detox. You know, the guy that got kicked out of 15 sober livings manages a sober living.
Yeah.
The sober living is 3 streets away from the McDonald's that I died at.
Yeah.
Became a life coach, and I like.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I mean, I think that, you know, your story is such a good one, because I know for me, I often thought like recovery is something that happens for other people, and I love that for you guys. But I've tried, and it doesn't work for me. It's just not for me. Either I am better than everyone else, or my addiction's somehow worse. I'm not sure which it is. It vacillates day to day. But, you know, when I saw people like happy in recovery and like doing well, I was like, you probably weren't as bad as I was, or you're like, I don't know, but somehow you're different from me, and I'm not going to have that same experience. And it's just, all of our stories are so powerful because they resonate with different people who feel that same terminal uniqueness of like, this isn't going to be applicable for me. And it's like, but it actually is for everyone. I thought everyone was full of shit. I honestly, if you told me your story 5 years ago, I would have said, incredible. You're probably high right now. That's the only way you're laughing and smiling. Like, there's just no fucking way that what you're saying to me is true. But it is. Yeah. And that's been, you know, my journey is like, I remember watching H&I's and being like, you're full of shit. There's no fucking way.
Right.
And then to be on the other side of that, like, it is my goal to just like shake everyone I see and be like, no, this can be for you specifically as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I've like been so careful, like how I use my platform. And like, I've always like, the way I share things is always in a way of like, not look at me. It's like, no, this is possible for you too. Yeah. And it ain't about you. My thing might be music and speaking and blah, 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 and life coaching. Your thing that might just be being a great parent. Maybe you're going to start a carpentry business, or maybe a podcast, or a singer, or what. You can do whatever you want. You just got to believe.
Yeah.
And I believe in you. I just spoke at Senecor today. I've been speaking all day. I spoke at Senecor this morning with like 50 people. And I love it because it's just like, I never thought this was going to be possible. I never thought life could be this sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, I think we all have a chance to recover. Like,
That's really so true. And that's,
like, I really care about people. Like, all I ever used to do was just take from people and harm people. All I want to do now is just give and just love people and make them feel loved, because I know what it's like to feel hurt. I know what it's like to feel out of place. I know what it's like to hurt people, unfortunately, too. But I also know what it's like to recover and to redeem yourself and to rewrite your story, because that person I was is not a fraction of who I am today. Because not only did I surrender to the drugs and alcohol, I also surrendered that person, the person that I was. And there's a saying, like, a part of me had to die so a part of me could get to live.
Yeah.
Like, now, like, I'm respectful. I'm a man today. I'm a real man. I'm actually a man, not a boy. Like,
yeah.
And like, I walk in principles as best I can on a daily basis. I mean, I'm not perfect, but like, I have had my shortcomings, but like,
Yeah.
I do my best to wake up every day to try to figure out what it is that I can bring into the world today.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are hurting. And if I can just be there in some way to provide some type of source of hope or inspiration or motivation, or, every person I talk to, I tell them I love them. Mm-hmm. Every person, I don't care who you are. I want them to know that. I hug everyone I see. I don't care who you are or what you've been through or what you've done. Like, I think we all deserve a shot at redemption. I mean, there's certain things that aren't excusable, but we already know what those are. But like, for the most part, I think we all deserve a chance to be redeemed.
Absolutely.
And to have a shot. And, like that guy that gave me that chance, I did end up admitting to him that I lied. Mm-hmm. And, I never forgot that, because he had no reason to give me a chance.
Yeah.
No one else was. I burn every bridge. And I remember what that's like, because sometimes, I don't know. Generally, it's not the fourth or fifth time. People, unfortunately, we go through a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And we never know when it's going to be. And if my hand is always going to be extended.
Yeah.
And so.
Wow. What a fucking crazy story.
Yeah.
That's fucking intense and just absolutely so inspiring that you're in the place that you are now. It's really cool to witness, and I'm really honored that you told it here. And so we're going to wrap up with my 2 segments.
Okay.
The first one is called Rock Bottom and Pink Cloud.
Oh, okay.
So this is your like high and low of the week.
Yeah.
So I can start. My high of the week is that I am planning like a trip with my family. Ooh. My niece is about to be born, and we're gonna all go hang out. And getting to have a relationship with my nieces has been one of the best parts of recovery, because I missed my sister's wedding when I was in treatment, and she told me something that like always stuck with me, and she was like, it's just one day. I want you to be here when my kids are here. Yeah. And since I got sober, she's had her first kid and she's about to have her second, so I'm really excited about
that's awesome
seeing them.
Yeah.
And then my rock bottom of the week, did I say that was more? That's my pink cloud,
right?
My rock bottom of the week is, what do I not love this week? The weather. It's been fucking insane. I need to absolutely stop doing that. It's bringing down my vibe. Yeah. What is your rock bottom and pink cloud of the week?
So my pink cloud would be, I don't know. Today's been a great Wednesday.
Amazing.
I started my morning bringing some hope to Senecor, and then I ran a process group before I came here, and then I end my night with you guys. Like, what?
Amazing.
I think, yeah, that's a pink cloud for sure.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if anything can top that this week. Mm-hmm. I better go play some lottery tickets or something. I don't know. I don't even play lottery, but that'd be the only thing.
It's dangerous.
That'd be the only thing that could top this. So it's been a great Wednesday. Yeah, the low, it's kind of hard not to like choose the weather.
Yeah.
You know, I try not to let weather dictate my mood, but like I'm not really a rainy guy.
No.
And especially with this type of rain and all the tragedy that's come with it.
Yeah. It's really
So,
been fucking terrible.
you know, it's almost been kind of hard for me to like, it's been hard for me almost to kind of like post this week because I just,
Yeah.
it's just like, damn. Like,
It's fucking devastating.
you know, like, I don't know. It's just, it's really tough.
It just keeps getting worse every day, too.
Yeah. And I just, heart goes out to
Absolutely.
anyone struggling. I appreciate all the, if there's one silver lining for like tragedies, I wish it didn't always take this for this to happen, but like when people come together, if we could tap into that without having to have a catastrophe or a tragedy.
Yeah.
Like if we could really come together like that all the time.
Yeah.
Wow, would the world be at such a different place?
That's such a good point. That honestly would be a good one for the final segment, which is close my tab, which is something
I love these. Yo,
right? Thank
this
you.
is brilliant.
Period.
Yo.
I think a lot at night. It's funny, earlier you were talking about like how your brain works and how the thoughts just never stop and you're always worried about things and da da da. Yeah, same. And
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but like, are you the type of person like you could be tired and then as soon as you like lay down in your bed, it's like.
I've actually never been tired in my life. My body is tired.
Oh,
my mind is alive.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be literally almost dying of exhaustion, but I got things to think about and they're
Me
always
too.
there.
Yeah. I wish like I could. I'm not really an AI guy, but if they can create something to where like I don't have to like write and you can just take my thoughts at like 11 p.m. Bedtime sessions.
That's literally what my TikTok is. If you ever watch my TikTok, most of the time I'm in bed because that's when I think.
Yeah, mine
and I'm
too.
like, you know what? I have something to say. And that's honestly helped me so much because when I'm just quiet up there, it's not good. But when I can just say it out loud, it's helpful. That's how all of this began. Okay, but close my tab is like something that you're shutting the door on right now, like something that you're letting go of. For me, for probably the fourth week in a row, it's gonna be I fucking keep like, I mean it's the problem of recovery, isn't it? Like I have to stay in the present moment. I just have to.
Yeah.
I have been future tripping so bad, and I think for me it's like, you know, I've started this new project and I'm really having like a lot of ambition for the first time in my life, like and acting on it.
Yeah.
And it's so future oriented. I'm like, I need to hit this mark. Sure. And once I hit this in my relationship and in the podcast and everything, then I'll feel okay. And then I'll feel safe. And then, but it's like, that's just another extension of my addictive thinking where it's like, I need this to be okay. I'm okay right now. Actually, things are going well. I'm having a great time talking to you. I'm doing a podcast. Who the fuck? Yeah. 5 years ago,
who the fuck?
3 years ago, I was fucking like literally I almost OD'd. Just very confusing. I'm here. Why am I not grateful for this? Yeah. Why am I looking for the next thing? This is something that I was fucking dreaming about. Yeah, so my closed tab is going to be just closing the tab on future tripping and opening the tab on living in the present moment and being so grateful for everything that I have right now because I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
What is your closed tab?
So probably something similar, or at least a similar principle is like just patience, and trusting the process. So like I've been on like a real, man, you guys are going to resonate for sure. Cause this is not really talked about much, but like, you know, just wanting like results now. So I've like been in the gym. I've been on like this gym and health kick, and I've been running. I'm like gonna run a half marathon in February, and it's just like I've experienced like some real body dysmorphia. Like I'll like look in the mirror one day after the gym, and I'm like, yes, look at, I'm looking good right now. And then I'll go back the next day, and I'm like, hold on, is this even the same person? Like, oh my god, I feel like did I even work out yesterday?
Yeah.
Where's the results at? I swear yesterday. And just being like, yo, chill out, bro. Trust the process and just put in the work and grind and like, you know, I've trusted the process in every other area. I trust the process in all areas.
Yeah, that's what my sponsor always says. She's like, you need to bring your mentality with sobriety specifically into all areas of your life. You think that you have to handle your finances and self-will on finances, the gym, your relationships, whatever. And then in your recovery, you'll let go.
Yeah.
But you need to incorporate that into every aspect of life.
And, you know, it's like, and I think sometimes we want to like find like shortcuts or like cheat codes to like expedite the process. And it's like, that's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point is the whole process, because that's where we find the meaning and the appreciation, the value.
Yeah.
So that when we get there, it's like, yeah, I did that.
I did that.
Or if you're in a relationship, y'all did that.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it that much more special and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
you know, it's the journey.
It really is the journey. And like in this moment in time, I'm trying to be like, yeah, right now is the moment that 3 months ago I was like, oh my God, if that ever happened, I would be like, oh my God, I'd be set.
Yeah.
And I'm just, we're always constantly moving the goalpost for ourselves
Right.
of when I'll feel okay.
Yeah.
I feel okay right now.
Yeah.
It's all a fucking illusion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The time isn't real. I'm going to get really mad if we keep going.
You know.
Jacob, thank you so much for coming, and thank you
Bridget.
for sharing your story.
Of course.
It's already resonating with so many people, and I hope it reaches that many more, because I, for one, feel very inspired by it.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. And I'm inspired and appreciative of you. And I think that's the most important thing is like, no voice is while there might be more magnified voices throughout the world or community, no voice is more important than your voice isn't more important than mine, and mine isn't more important than yours. Actually, the most important thing is that we get to share our voices together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, everyone has a voice and everyone has a story, so share it.
Yeah.
Whether you want to share it, you know, in the rooms or out of the rooms or on a podcast or in music, share that voice, because you know, you were put through that and made it out of that for a reason. And like I said, the whole thing is like, we do this together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most beautiful experience, is being able to share that experience.
Absolutely.
So
and
your voice.
Where can people find your voice?
Yes. So
Period.
You're funny. If you guys are on Facebook, you guys can look me up by my government name, J-Kline, Kline. Or if you're looking for the music, I'm on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon, whatever you use. It's on there. J-Kline, J-Kline.
J-Kline.
New single out, always new. Videos out now. Ups and Downs featuring I Am Critchy out now. I'm dropping a new song every month. Yeah, it's a beautiful life.
It's a beautiful life.
So.
And for me, follow me on TikTok, Sober Bridge, and please fucking subscribe to this channel. I swear to God. Join but like in a really nice way, like join the family.
Yo, you are funny as hell. Yeah, no, please go subscribe. She's doing big things. And we're also, this might be top secret, but I'm going to get her. Do they know you sing?
Well, only jokingly.
Oh, well, you guys are going to find out, because I'm going to get her on it, and I'm going to get her in the studio. We're going to do a song. And y'all might see her rocking stages one day.
Yeah, so you're going to have to follow us both and subscribe to both to find out.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Love ya.